Hello to all DLAK clients, investors, and guests. I'm Danielle Kosick, and I'd like to welcome you to the second half 2024 market update. So far, the second half has brought us bouts of low volatility, then high volatility, and then low again. One thing is for sure, within the next 2 months, domestically, we will have an event that many believe could have a large impact on their lives. And for what DLAK does, their money. My first question I would like to direct to Rob. What do you wish to share with our investors as we get closer to the election and beyond?
Thank you, Danielle, and great to see you again. For those of you who are not familiar, and there may be a handful of you out there who do not know who I am Rob Kosick, the founder and owner of DLAK Wealth Advisors. With me today is Matthew Ringel and Jason Phipps, managing partners of DLAK Wealth Advisors. Danielle, back to your question. I'm well aware this is most potentially contentious election that this country has experienced in our history. And I know that one of the most important responsibilities of an advisor is to be that sound mind when all else looks awfully scary. I've been working in this industry and speaking with hundreds, honestly much more, thousands of different voices daily, annually, for decades. And for a very long time, I would consistently run into an investor overly concerned with the current state of the economy, the markets, and the world. And I just didn't share their vision that this time it was different and the world was at cliff's end. Well, regardless of what side you are on, you could have very strong beliefs that now it is different. There's a lot of I'm not willing to say politically, but what I am willing to say is it's unfortunate, but our choices are not Reagan versus JFK. The choices are what they are. Historically, the markets have been the biggest advocate of a split government where both sides keep each other in check and little change of significance can be enacted. If we just speak to the presidential race, regardless of what happens with Congress, we know whatever sector is favored under a specific candidate, it will be that much more attractive if Congress follows suit. All right, so first, we'll start with former President Trump. What are the policies that may have market implications? Closing the border and expelling criminal illegals. Okay? Reducing regulations, increasing defense spending, onshoring jobs and making domestic landscape more attractive for companies to do business here than abroad. Potential advocating for cryptocurrencies, and increase efforts to boost energy supply to support energy independence. What does this list tell me I should be favoring with a Trump win? Healthcare, defense, energy pipelines, small cap stocks, and to a lesser extent, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Healthcare and financials are the biggest benefactors in removal of regulation barriers. Although Trump has joined the left with its attacks on pharma, the reduction in regulations, there would be a 0% chance for the end of private insurance as we know it. This will allow healthcare, the one sector very favorably valued, to enjoy maybe a significant tailwind. Defense is obvious, peace through strength. The pipelines theoretically would work as well. We could see an increase in energy production. But if we go back to 2016 to 2020, nothing in the traditional energy space worked. Whether it was crude, pipelines, or otherwise, the price of crude drove everything within that sector. So this was a major theme back in 2016. That did not hold, and that's not something I'm going to forget. Okay? Onshoring jobs and focusing on domestic labor and manufacturing all should support small caps, as a much, much higher percentage of sales of small cap companies come from domestic sales than those of large multinationals. Small caps are comparatively cheap, if not very cheap, from their large cap counterparts. Small caps also historically perform better than other styles during periods of interest rate reductions. As for VP Harris, the play remains infrastructure. One would expect cannabis stocks, but having watched clients dabble in this arena, we'd still need to see if someone can actually figure out how to make money in this area. There's no reason to expect much different than the last 3+ years. The best performing sector, even better than infrastructure the past 3 years, and tech, is energy. One just needs to think of supply and demand. If there's a capping of supply, demand starts to exceed, pushing up the price. The number one driver of stock performance in the energy space, to no one's surprise, is the price of crude. What was the worst performing sector over the past 4 years? Green energy stocks. Be careful from what seems to be the most obvious. After all this, I do not see the election having a significant impact on the macro direction of the market immediately. Oh, there'll be volatility, but directionally of significance, we've had both administrations. So there's somewhat of a known there, certainly a fear for many, but still a known. Honestly, the market should just be one variable of many as a responsibility of the leader of the free world. What I would love to see is if there was a defined amount of money each party could spend, who would spend it most productively, and we could measure the outcome for the economy and all Americans. But then again, it's not the 1950s or the Clinton-Gingrich 1990s. I'm shocked, but maybe we shouldn't be, as each candidate of late is starting to sound more like each other. Ms. Harris' policies sound like she's running for DA again, and Trump's new policies on abortion and marijuana contradict his thoughts of the recent past. Many would say they are campaigning to the middle. I would say less nice things about each. As for the markets, they will want a divided government. Either way, we continue to manage everyone's money with an eye on the next 20 years, much more than the next 2 months. What this means is whatever happens in the next 2 months, I'm comfortable we have taken everything we can into account, so you will be in the best possible position 20 years from now. But don't forget me, the next 2 months always matters.
Thanks, Dad. Election years seem to get more contentious without even having the market uncertainty mixed in with it. So thanks for shedding some light on what we can expect from the possible different outcomes. Now let's turn our attention back to DLAK. Matt, we know that DLAK has been a fast-growing, highly successful business for almost 2 decades now. Can you provide some insight as to why we've been able to enjoy this success?
Thanks, Danielle. I would be happy to do that. First and foremost, the number one thing that has made our business successful is all of you, our clients. It has always been our firm's belief that if we engage our clients with the level of service we ourselves would expect, we would never fail in delivering what people desire. We have committed to working hard and focusing everything that we do on optimizing the client experience. Rob originally founded this business as only a money management firm. While we never will forget the foundation of what we do, providing our clients with great returns, our firm has become so much more. We have grown into a full-service wealth advisory business we help our clients with every aspect of their financial life. Our ability to provide in-depth value on a multitude of financial topics is what we believe sets DLAK apart. I feel confident in saying that our clients know that when they have a matter that pertains to finances, they can bring it to us and rest assured that we will be knowledgeable and ready to help. They also know no matter what they ask, we are going to go the extra mile. Unfortunately, as some of you may have experienced in the past, this is certainly not the norm in the financial services world, or really mostly the service industry as a whole. Just remember back to the last time you called your cable provider or the bank. In our industry, there's always been, and continues to be, a large gap between what services individuals have expected and what services they have actually received from their financial advisor. Appearing on your screen, you will see a chart from a study conducted by Spectrum Group. This study details in light blue the services that high net worth clients are expecting to receive from their advisor relationship versus the dark blue of what they are currently experiencing. The data comes back and confirms what we here at DLAK have known and been saying all along. There are far too many advisors getting paid way too much for doing way too little. This is the very problem that DLAK has created the solution to. As all of our clients can attest, we touch on every single one of these topics listed on your screen. And we have been doing so since almost the inception of our firm. We have structured our business to provide all of these services to our clients at a very competitive price. We give you what you need and deserve, whether or not you even know it. Does this really make a difference? Isn't management and a little bit of financial planning really enough to get by? Not according to what people want, and certainly not based on what people need. According to another study conducted by a little-known group called Vanguard, their study attempts to quantify the value of working with an advisor. As you can see by the graphic, most of the items they identify are encapsulated in just one or two of the services on that high net worth client's report. And yet, Vanguard believes those items alone can bring upwards of 3% in net returns. I don't know if the number is really that high, but what I do know is even if a few of these items can bring anywhere close to that much value, just imagine what working with a team like ours, covering all of these areas we first described, could mean for you and your financial future.
Thank you, Matt. It is clear that clients at DLAK are being provided value above and beyond what the typical advisory firm offers, and also explains how the firm has continued to grow as a result of clients recommending us to their friends and family. Jason, I have been hearing about the expiration of the Trump tax cuts. Can you explain what will change and what, if anything, DLAK clients should consider as part of these changes?
Thanks, Danielle. I'd be happy to talk about everyone's favorite topic, taxes. In all seriousness, the upcoming changes that are going to happen in January of 2026 are relatively important changes. If we look back to 2017, when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, often called the Trump tax cuts, were enacted, there were two components of that legislation. The first was corporate taxes. Corporate taxes were reduced from 35% to 21%, and those taxes were permanent, meaning that it will require a new piece of legislation to change that tax code. The personal tax changes were not permanent. They are set to expire on December 31st of 2025. The personal tax component of this also can be broken down into two major categories. One of the categories that I would like to talk about is the tax brackets and tax rates. And as you can see by the chart, the tax rate that everybody pays for income taxes is going up in almost every category. The amount of income that people will have at a higher tax rate is also going up. So you're likely going to end up with a higher blended tax rate in 2026 than you have today. So what can you be doing about that now? We've been talking with many of our clients about Roth conversions, using Roth IRAs as a component while your tax rate is lower than it's likely going to be in the future, and maximizing distributions from IRAs while we still have the room to do it with the current tax laws. But the thing I want to talk about more is estate planning and how that can be affected by the changes that are coming up with the expiration of the Trump tax cuts. Currently, an individual can leave about $13.6 million to their heirs through their lifetime exemption or their lifetime gifting maximum without being subjected to federal estate taxes. That is going to change to roughly half. This will go back to the old number. It will be indexed for inflation, but you're looking at roughly half of the amount of money that you can pass on or give away and not be subject to federal estate taxes. So what does that mean? That means anyone that has over $6 million that they're going to be leaving to their heirs should probably update their estate plan. And I'm not going to get into the complexities of this solution works or that solution works. We would be doing this in conjunction with an estate planning attorney. But the bottom line is there is code in the IRS that says if you give this money away at the current $13.6 million level, they can't come in and claw that back when the estate tax exemption goes back down to roughly half. So any planning that is done today will protect your heirs from being subject to federal estate taxes. If you wait until January 1 of 2026, there's nothing you can do. So taking action now is important.
Thank you, Jason. Glad to hear DLAK continues to watch out for all of our clients, especially when it comes to impactful monetary subjects such as taxes. All in all, there are a lot of possible uncertainties on the horizon with the upcoming election, market environment, and tax changes. However, it is reassuring to know that the team here at DLAK remains proactive and dedicated to focusing on the topics that are most vital to protecting and bringing value to you. We wish you a fantastic start to fall and a successful rest of 2024.